Hello, everybody. Welcome again to Remove Logic Radio. Today is Thursday, 7 p.m. I know that you don't need to know that, but that is our normal time that we show up every Thursday at 7 p.m. on Fishbowl Radio Network. Also, we can be seen on Facebook, Spotify, and and YouTube as well. Today's show is brought to you by United Wealth Education. United Wealth Education, about them, they help to secure financial futures and generational wealth across the United States. One of the things that they do is help with credit repair and restoring your credit. A few years ago, I was getting ready to purchase a home and I wanted to boost my credit score just a little bit, just to help me out and secure better financing. And so I sought out someone to help me. Signed up for the program, and within 3 months, my credit score was up to beyond 700. And so it is definitely something that works. If it's something that you're interested in, United Wealth Education, they are an awesome company. They do it for you. It's not anything that you do yourself or you're typing up letters and submitting them to the credit bureaus. They will do all of that for you. As I said, this segment of Remove Logic is brought to you by United Wealth Education. And so if you're interested in that, just shoot me a message. You can reach me at removelogic.com, or my email address is Karen@removelogic.com. So again, thank you, United Wealth Education, for sponsoring this show tonight. And I say to you, the Remove Logic audience, as I always do, I'm so glad that you stopped by to spend Thursday evening with me, and just excited once again because we're always here, looking for a way to just encourage others, maybe inspiring you to do something, to believe in yourself enough to step out and do that thing that you've been putting off. Last week, we talked about pivoting and the necessity of a pivot. Sometimes a pivot is critical in the situation. And so pivot, again, the acronym for us for pivot is persevere in victory over transition. Pivot, to persevere in victory over transition. So you might find yourself in a place of transition and you're needing to make a critical move, something that has come about and look, out of nowhere. We are living in times in this nation where it's like something new every day. And so there's a lot of changes going on. And, just want to encourage you as far as a place to come, maybe get some faith-based, just some spiritual advice or just encouragement or something to motivate you and just encourage you. So this is a place to come. Again, Remove Logic Radio Show. We help people get unstuck. So again, I'm your host, Karen Ray Lacey, and I'm so glad that you're here with me tonight. What I want to talk to you about tonight is belief. And just that in itself, but it's not just believing, just the belief, but also believing in you. And so I was talking to someone earlier, even on last night, couple of conversations, because a lot of times when I'm preparing for what am I going to talk about on Remove Logic, there's usually a conversation that I have with someone on a situation that they are going through that immediately resonates or confirms what it is that I'm going to be talking about. And so had a couple of conversations with two different people about believing in you and how we sometimes downplay ourselves so other people can shine. And so this word belief, we're being bombarded with what we believe in our nation, where Christians ain't acting like Christians, and they say they believe in Jesus Christ, but they're not modeling the character of Christ. And so this word belief, I believe tonight, is going to be something we're going to look at a little bit deeper and come out on the other side of it, maybe inspired. And that is my hope. So belief is captured in, it's actually captured by, who you are. Who you are when you're with family, who you are, who you fellowship with. It all can be insulated based on who you're hanging with, who you fellowship with. If you're Christians, you hang with Christians. If you the Black church, your beliefs are encouraged, learned, inspired by who you believe and how you grew up. And so it's captured by who you hang around with. It can be steered in different directions based upon who you hang around with as well. And so even in this climate, it's steered by, am I a Republican? Am I a Democrat? Am I an independent thinker? So just the fact that belief, it has its ebb and flow, so to speak. And so on the broader spectrum of belief, the foundation of your belief, at some point, it has to come down to just you as an individual. What do I believe? And then, and not just so much what you believe, but do you even believe in yourself? And that's what I want to talk to you about tonight, is believing in you. In the moment of making a move in a new direction, you must believe that you are going to make it. First of all, you have to have some belief that you are capable, that you are going to be successful. Believe in your ability before you even make the move. You got to believe in yourself. And so when you start to consider, like I said, where we are in this nation, and it is imperative almost that you believe in you, because we're being impacted and inundated with so many challenges that it can cause you to almost, lose confidence and self-assurance, that if something happens, how am I going to make it? Or if I need to make a change before something happens, what am I going to do? Have you ever known someone and said, if you would only believe in yourself the way I believe in you? And no matter how much belief that you have in a person, if they don't believe in themselves, it's really not going to be as effective as we desire it for them. But it is imperative that they believe in themselves. And so trying to convey your belief in them, or your belief in their potential, no matter how much you believe in them, it will not make a difference as far as performance if they don't believe in themselves. And I believe that the two are, they're integral, that you have to have some belief in you in order to perform in anything. You have to have a belief in your capability. Anything that you're setting out to do, before you do it, you have to have some belief that you can do it. You're going to get it done. And so tonight, that's what I want to be able to do. Just encourage you tonight to believe in yourself. You can have anything you want if you're willing to give up the belief that you can't have it. Let me say that again. You can have anything that you want if you're willing to give up the belief that you can't have it. That's a quote by Dr. Robert Anthony. I was reading different quotes relating to believing in yourself. There was another one by, let's see, Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. As soon as you trust yourself, you will know how to live. And that's just a very direct quote, because as soon as you trust in you, you will know how to live. Soon as you trust in your ability, you will know how to live. Dr. Wayne Dyer said, you cannot be lonely if you like the person you're alone with. You got to like yourself. You cannot be lonely if you like the person you're alone with. I thought that one was pretty neat. Believe in yourself and believe in yourself and find ways to express yourself and find discipline to keep growing. Now that's important. Believe in yourself and find ways to express yourself and find discipline to keep going. And so as I, began to look at this believe in yourself, as I was saying, I have some conversations with some friends of mine that, when you know what you're capable of, and sometimes we can diminish or dim our light, so to speak, so that somebody else can shine, or you just don't want to be, use all the gifts and the talents that you have, because you don't want anyone to feel inferior. And so, sometimes it's important that you be who you are. And I'm saying that, I know that's like a very simple thing, like, yeah, Karen, we know that. But the things that hinder us, that we allow ourselves, can cause us to not move, that cause us to even like move, maybe you need to move quickly, where because I don't want to, I don't want to cause others to be uncomfortable. I don't want to, maybe as I said, outshine somebody. So you just kind of move differently. And so I just want to encourage you tonight to believe in yourself, picking up from where you are now to believe that you can. To pick up from where you are to believe that you can, that you deserve it, and you can do it. Or even that you will do it. You may not have started yet. Maybe you're thinking about it, but just to encourage you, yeah, I can do this. And so, you're braver than you think you are. You're more talented than you think you are. You're more capable than you can even imagine. And so when you're looking at belief and how it directly affects your performance, it's something that, we should consider. If you're feeling like, maybe overwhelmed, maybe that it's a lot going on, even with the economy being as unstable as it is, but there has come a situation in your life that I need to make a move. And so even though the exterior things are the way that they are, it's the interior, the inside of you, that's going to directly affect how you go forward. Do I believe that I can make it in a bad economy? Do I believe that there is a job for me, or my job skills are transferable in this economy? And I always say, and I came up, I think my mom would always tell us, there's nothing beats a failure but a try. And so if you believe enough in yourself that you would get up and go ahead and move, because you can. Not because anybody has put any constraints on you, but to believe in yourself is what keeps you from putting any constraints on yourself. Disbelief and unbelief are wrapped usually in fear, doubt, shame, mindsets, attitudes. But remember, all things are possible if you just believe. Just believe. It's possible for those who believe. And so when you are maybe finding yourself, as I said, with the current state of the nation, You may be one of those government workers that, unfortunately, you went to work and you were told that, hey, your job is no more. And you're sitting maybe in a place wondering, what do I do? Or even how can I do? I can only imagine, working on a job for 20 and 30 years, and all of a sudden somebody comes and you're at the point, maybe 2 more years of retirement. And all of a sudden I've got to make this change. I've got to make this pivot. But the belief in yourself is going to affect how soon you move. Maybe you don't have a sense of urgency out of fear. But the bills, the finances, and your responsibility is saying you need to do something and do it quick. But sometimes the arrest of unbelief and the arrest of disbelief can cause you to doubt your ability, to doubt the possibilities, to doubt the fact that if I do something, because I know that I can do it, my skills are transferable. Look, I was looking for a job when I found this one. And so I'm going to get up and do something. So just want to encourage you, how do you see yourself? And how we see ourselves is important. It's impactful on how we move, how we succeed or fail, how we move at all. So if I don't see myself successful, I may not move. If I don't see myself with an ability, then I'm going to be stuck where I was, and I might need to move immediately. And so when you consider the necessity of moving, and it's something comes and okay, I've got to make a change. This was something that I didn't see coming, but I need to make some type of change. It is imperative that you believe that you can. Perhaps you see yourself as different and don't know why, where it may not have anything to do with a quick move that needs to be made. It just may be all your life, I've been different. I've been different and I don't know why. Perhaps when you are different, that there are those that are waiting on your difference. And there are millions of people that you haven't even met in this big world that are like, they'll accept your difference. And you don't have to feel like that difference, you being different, is something that is going to cause you to not believe in yourself. Because even if you're different, there is something that somebody is waiting on you to do, to say, to be, and become because of that difference. So just want to encourage you to believe in yourself, to believe in you. You might be one of the persons, as I was saying, that downplays your abilities. You might be somebody with a light that shines so bright, but I just don't want to make anybody feel inferior. So I'm just going to dim my light a little bit. And I want to encourage you to let your light shine. That men may see. It's important, that you don't dim your light and don't dummy yourself down to make others around you comfortable. When your abilities, your gifts, and your talents are what God has deposited in you to inspire those around you, to encourage them. In other words, somebody is waiting on you to show up, believing in yourself, and be enough to be authentically you, because they're waiting on you to show up. So as we find ourselves within the nation, shaken by some of the things that we're seeing, some of the things that we're hearing. You may not be impacted, personally, or you may know someone that's impacted, or just the stories themselves can cause us to be shaken. We've been inundated, as I've said before, by news and so much negativity that it causes you to have doubts and fears. I think I had said last week that I was in a pivotal moment, and I just want to, just share a little bit of my pivot that I found myself in. Some of you know, I work for the government. And so when it was time for us to go back into the office per, the email that we received to go back into the office every day, well, that was a chore for me. And it was going to be a chore. It was going to impact my quality of life in a way that it just wasn't worth it. And I had to really sit and think about what I wanted to do. And I I got the email back in January when everybody else did, and my first response, honestly, was, "God, what you about to do with me now? Like what's about to happen with Karen?" And I, work ethics are what they are. If you have good work ethics, it really doesn't matter what comes your way. You're still going to work with a good ethic. And so I knew that the day was going to come when I was going to have to go into the office. And so I just began to prepare mentally for that. Didn't know what it was going to look like. I knew that I'm 2.5 to 3 hours away from my office. And so that was going to be me actually going into Fort Worth, working, and I live over 250 miles away from my office. Now, I wasn't going to do that travel commute every day, but I was going to go in on Sunday, work up until Friday, going into the office, staying with family and friends. Thank God for options, that I had options, and I have good friends, good relationships, and a wonderful family that was willing to take me in. Once the news spread regarding me having to come back into the office, I was getting calls, from family and loved ones, just offering me the option to stay in their home, and I'm grateful for that. But this was something that was permanent for me. And I knew, this is, of course, it's a change that I was going to need to make. I was not willing to move from where I currently live and move back to my hometown, which is where my office was. And so it's like, okay, I could stay with family. And thank God I had a cousin that said yes and opened up her home to me. But to think about that, for the next year and a half, as I know that I am almost of retirement age, and I wanted to just ride it on out and then retire and from this job. But I had to consider what it was going to do to my life. Like, what is my life about to look like? Where I'm going into the office either on Sunday, going into town to go to work on Monday morning. I would either leave on Sunday or drive in, leave at 3 o'clock in the morning to get there, as early as 6 o'clock in the morning, and then drive back out on Friday or Saturday. That was about to be my life. And so I had to make some critical decisions for what was best for me. And I did decide. They gave options. If you didn't want to come back, you could do what's called a deferred resignation. And so I did that. And I made that decision, still waiting to know if the decision was going to be accepted. I did go into the office as a responsible employee you would do, and drove in, and I worked that week. But I knew when I sent that email that my decision was made and there was no looking back. And I found myself in a pivot. And so in this pivot is where I was speaking about last week, that I have a testimony. But it felt so good to be able to make that decision. But I had to trust my ability that once I released this, that I had to believe enough in me that I would be able to get up from that place to another place, to another position, to pivot my life back to a place of stability from where I was with this government position. And so this is where I find myself, and I'm persevering in victory over transition. And now I have to believe enough in Karen that my skills are transferable, that I have the discipline enough to do what I need to do to keep myself in a stable position. And so, again, just like I said last week, when you're pivoting, you have to have that stable foot that you're going to pivot from. And so, if I'm going to move forward, move backward, or do a 180, whatever I was going to do, I had to have a place of stability. And so I found the stable foot, and then I made my pivot. But I could not waver on my decision. I had to believe enough in myself, turn something on in me that said, get up, do this, and move here and go there. And so I had to do an assessment of Karen, and not, I wasn't looking for anybody else to do anything for me. This is me. And so I'm saying to you, wherever you find yourself, you have to believe in you enough to say, I can do this. I can do this. I was looking at self-confidence when I was, preparing, for this show. And I found where studies don't agree exactly on what self-confidence is. Some say it's simply believing in yourself, while others go into deeper detail about what it is, and it is formulated simply in believing in your, not simply believing in yourself, but a more detailed look at it is your expectations for and evaluation of yourself and your performance. And so a deeper look at self-confidence is where I would say I found myself. I had to look my expectations of Karen, and for an evaluation of Karen, and then Karen's performance. So again, believe in you, but it's definitely related to your performance. If you have no belief in yourself, then you won't perform. If you have a belief in yourself, then you will perform. And so I had to take a hard look at me and say, okay, and jokingly what I said as I sent the email to say I was going to take the deferred resignation, one of the things I said to myself sitting at my desk is, Karen, what you gonna do, barbecue or mildew? Because once you send this email, there is no looking back. And that's something jokingly that me and one of my friends say, what you gonna do, barbecue or mildew? When you got to make a move, you need to do something. And so I had to take a look at myself. Perhaps you're in a place where you got to take a look at you, evaluate you, and then look at your performance. And so you have to believe in yourself. In other words, what you believe about you has a direct impact on your performance. What you believe about you has a direct impact on your performance. And it's not grounded in anybody else, because at the end of the day, it's my responsibility. At the end of the day, it's your responsibility. So what you believe about you has a direct impact on how you perform. And, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. Whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. That's a quote from Henry Ford. And so, and it's funny, but when you listen to it, whether you think you can, whether you think you can't, you're right. The Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So what you believe about yourself does have a direct impact on how you perform. And if I believe that I'm able, that I'm capable, that I have the skills, that I know that I'm going to be disciplined enough to make the move that I need to make, and even challenge myself to do something even bigger, faster, stronger, quicker, learn a course, as I said last week. Perhaps you're in a place where, okay, my skills are transferable, but I need to do something to enhance my skills. Maybe you need to learn something new, a new skill to add to what you've already learned over the course of, your work experience. And everything, of course, is not tied to work, because it could be, something in your family. It could be a change that needs to be made for better in family, a new way of looking, maybe, as I was saying, at your finances. Maybe it's time to save while you have the opportunity to save. And you have to believe, you know what, we can do this. Have to have a discipline to dial it back. Maybe it is you're ready to purchase a house and there are some things that you need to work on, but there's a discipline that you need to work through to get to the place of that purchase. And as I said, with United Wealth Educator, I had to do something to prepare for what my next was. And it wasn't that my credit was in bad shape. It was just something that I didn't even take the time to look at. I'm just working and paying bills. And so there were some derogatory things on there that needed to come off that were affecting my score. But if you don't know where you are, as I said, when you have to take the moment to look at you, do a self-assessment, even though something has caused you now to stop and look at yourself. Then you evaluate yourself and look at what am I doing, or what do I want to do? What is my performance? If I'm not outperforming in a time when I need to perform, then I might need to step it up a little bit. The challenge to change your belief is about if it is affecting your outcome. So if what I believe has a negative effect on my outcome, then I need to change my belief. If my belief maybe is small, where I need to think bigger, I want a larger, bigger outcome, or a better outcome. So what does that say? I need to change my belief in direct result of what I want to see. If your potential is not maximized, and you need to maximize your potential, then I need to change my belief in my ability. As a student, it could be the difference between an F on a test and an A on a test. So, if the discipline is, I need to study more, I need to not hang out, that I believe that I can get a better grade, but I'm going to have to do something different, because what you believe will affect your performance. If your belief is small, then your results are going to be small. If your belief is big and your expectation is big, that means your belief in your ability is larger than what you thought it was. I'm more than what I thought I am, and I can do more than I thought I could do. And I may have to push myself to do more. And so believing in you it requires you to look at yourself, to look at you and say, what are my abilities? Or even what's hindering my abilities? I was thinking about our ancestors, and as we are living in a time where DEI is the buzz in the nation, and how it's impacting us, they think. They think it's impacting us. And so as companies have taken it away, and government has taken it away, and they're seeing where they're saying that it was an edge for us, they thought. But when I look at our ancestors, and they didn't have DEI, they had a belief in themselves. The challenges that we face today are the same challenges that were faced because of color, because of gender. But there was something on the inside of them that exceeded what was on the outside. There was something on the inside of them that exceeded what was on the outside against them. Can you imagine being told every day, you're ugly, you're less than a human, and beaten into submission just because you're different? And as I said, I was saying earlier, perhaps you are different. You might be different than your friends. You might be considered the black sheep in the family. It's just something about you that doesn't line up with everybody else. But there's also something on the inside of you that causes that difference, that says, you know what, no matter how ugly I am, no matter, how black I am, no matter how brown I am, it doesn't matter what you take away from me. It doesn't matter how you beat me, how you come at me. It's something on the inside of me, that belief in myself, that says I can still make it. And so when I consider our ancestors, what it must have been like to lay down at night, to rise up again early in the morning with the thought that the thing that was on you yesterday is going to be on me when I wake up, when I open my eyes this morning, and I'm going to have to face that same thing. But the discipline that they must have had to not break, the belief that they had to have in their ability to read when nobody wanted them to read, to sneak and read in silence, to educate yourself, and what that must be like, and must have been like for them, that, you know what, I believe in myself. And even the abstract and desire for something as freedom that was so abstract, that's something that existed in thought and in idea, but not having the physical or concrete existence of it, but I still believe in my ability to be free. There had to be something so deep on the inside that no matter how you beat me, no matter how you separate me from my family, no matter how you take away, anything that was making my life easier, you thought, then now you're taking something away that's going to make my life hard, you thought. But just as they had some belief on the inside of them, as we find ourselves in this nation, in this time, with the exact same almost opposition, because of color, because of gender, because, of your socioeconomic status, that you are middle class, and then you have the billionaires that are now controlling all decisions for us. But there has to be something down on the inside of you that says, I believe in me enough that I am not going to quit. That even if you take away everything from me, that I can still get up. And so belief is powerful. Belief in yourself is necessary. Belief affects your performance. What you believe in your heart about you can stop you, it can move you, or it can defeat you. What you believe in your heart about you can stop you, it can move you, or it can defeat you. The view of a win is different from the view of a defeat. The way you look at a win is different from the way you look at a defeat. The way you look at victory is different from the view you have of failure. Faith in God and confidence in you, those are necessary tools for us to be able to navigate where we find ourselves right now. That you got to look at yourself and say, I got this. I can do this. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That no matter what, nevertheless, you are not going to break my spirit. And I know that whatever I have learned, you cannot take away from me. Whatever skills you have attained, whatever education you have gained, just as our forefathers and foremothers, our ancestors, that somebody tried to even beat it out of them. They took away things that made their lives easy when they were angry at them and wanted to oppress them or into a greater submission. But even in the midst of that, they kept on going. And so I just want to encourage you the same, that it's necessary for you to change your view of you in order for you to win. If you're looking at yourself and doubting yourself, I want to encourage you to remove the logic that says to you, I can't, and put the logic on that says, I can. Change your mind in the face of what looks like is the logic says, oh, you won't be able to do that. Oh, you know, the market is bad and you won't be able to buy a house and you can't afford it. You know, look at what, take away the logical things. Sometimes logic is what talks us out of exceeding in an illogical time. So whatever it is that's speaking to you, that's saying you can't do it, encourage yourself and believe in you to say that you can. You can. The Bible says, in my weakness, your strength is made perfect. And so for you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Believe in yourself, because the combination of you and God, unstoppable. Unstoppable. What can you do? What type of strategies? Again, here, you know, not just giving you an encouraging word, but try to get some application as well. So what can I do? What can I do if I find myself in a season where I'm struggling in believing in me? The first thing you do is protect your belief in yourself. If you're around people that are always negative, nobody's encouraging you, you know, where you need encouragement, be deliberate and intentional with yourself and put yourself around people. You know, if you got to get up, look, and walk across the room and call somebody, if you got to go outside, you know, put yourself in a position where you are around someone or reach out to someone that can encourage you, and develop strategies that will maintain your belief. If you're an always positive person and then negative things are always coming, or all of a sudden there's some negative things going on, what you have to do is develop some strategies to maintain your positivity. Develop strategies to maintain your belief and discipline your mind to overcome the challenges when they show up. You're not just folding up or lying down when you know you need to get up. Believe in you enough to know that, hey, if I can look up, I can get up. Adapt practices that will ensure these things. So if you need to change something, if you need to change, friends, if you need to put yourself around people that think maybe a little bit higher, if you've reached your maximum and there's a level that you want to go to, then you aspire to be around people that are beyond your level. It's nothing wrong with that, because the Bible says that iron sharpens iron. And so if you put yourself around somebody that's maybe going to, you know, rub you and put you, as far as inspiring you, put you in a different thought process. Just as I said, you know, when I was getting ready to purchase a house, I was like, okay, I knew what I wanted. My outcome was, I wanted 100% no zero down loan. And so I knew what those markers were. And so I knew that I also needed to increase my credit score and just really take the time to look at my credit and see where I actually stood. And once I looked at it, it wasn't as bad as I thought, but there were some things that I needed to do. So, in order to enhance my performance, then I sought out someone that could assist me. And again, put yourself in a position as you're pivoting that it's going to give you an advantage. Believe in yourself enough to know that I'm going to perform and perform well in this season. As I am sitting here now, had to do a deferred resignation on my job. I had to believe in Karen enough to know that if I can get up, look up, I can get up. And I remember when I made the decision, I had to affirm it, with my supervisor when he was notified a few weeks later that I had indeed signed the email. Sent the email saying, yes, I'm going to take the deferred resignation. And so when the notification came, I was asked, Karen, are you going to do this? And I had to answer an emphatic yes, yes, because I knew what my life was going to be like. But I also knew Karen. I knew my ability, and I knew what I'm willing to do to continue to have the life and the quality of life that I've given myself. Thank you, God, for those things, because he said it is me that gives you the power to get wealth. But even in the responsibility of what God gives into our hands, okay, what am I going to do? Where am I going to turn now? I wasn't looking for friends and family to support and sustain me. But what I was doing was looking inside to say, Karen, you got to do this. But if you want to do this, you've got to evaluate yourself and see how far are you willing to go and what can you do. So I had to develop some strategies. I had to protect my belief system. I had a discussion with the people at work when they made the announcement that Friday was indeed my last day. They were in shock and awe, and because I hadn't told anybody. So protecting my belief and knowing that I was going to had made this decision, I didn't tell anybody at work. And one of the ladies, we had a meeting, and I was taking notes in the meeting. And later on that day, she came over and she said, "You sure do know how to keep a secret." Yes, I do. Because when you move a certain way, it makes people uncomfortable. And so sometimes it may cause, as you're protecting your belief, once you tell people what you're about to do, then sometimes their fear can be imposed upon you. And so I did keep it a secret. I didn't tell anybody except supervisor and the director. And so then the development of strategies that will maintain your belief. That's when I've decided to do this. I believe in myself enough, but I've got to develop some strategies that are going to maintain this move that I'm making, this pivot that I'm in. So you have to then look and identify, as I said, evaluate yourself. So you have to identify your strengths and your weaknesses. Like, where am I strong? Because even last week when we talked about pivoting, you have to look and see what foot is my pivotal foot. Where is my stability? And then I'm going to move from that place. But you keep that foot solidly on the ground. In basketball, when you're pivoting, you have to have that foot on the floor. And so you have to identify my place of strength, but you also have to identify your place of weakness. Now, weaknesses are not a negative thing if you stack your weaknesses. What do I mean by that? That means that if I'm making a move and there's some weak and vulnerable places, I need to stack something around to insulate those weak places. And so it's like you stacking people that around you that can help you. They're where you're weak, they're strong. Where you're weak, they are strong. And so their abilities might cover that weakness. It might aid you or help you in that weak place until you get strong enough or learn something new that's going to sustain you in that weak place, or even make it where it's even. I'm strong over here, but I'm weak over here. And so then the next strategy, again, you surround yourself with positivity. You don't have to tell the left hand what the right hand is doing. If the left hand is negative and the right hand is positive, then I'm going to lean over here to this positive hand, the right hand. That's who I'm going to talk to. I'm not going to tell left hand. Left hand is the one that's going to tell me, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, you poor thing. And oh, I hope you get it. And oh, this obstacle is here. Are you sure? But when you've made your mind up and I believe in me enough, then I know I need to just let the folk know that's going to encourage me. And then you have to also reframe your own negative thoughts. And I tell people all the time, if I fight to stay free, even if I got to fight me. And so you have to refrain yourself, reframe your own negative thoughts. And that comes with talking to you. You know, they say you crazy with talking to yourself. And look, as long as you're not answering, it's okay. But sometimes it's necessary to talk to yourself. I have a running joke with my friends. I'll say, I had a little talk with Karen, and she's gonna be all right. You know, sometimes you just gotta talk to yourself. And again, it's not that it's one and done, that I believe in you or you believe in yourself. I believe in me. It's not one and done. It's a process, because once you make that step, and you might be mid-air and something else comes to try to undercut you, but you still got to reframe your thoughts, you know, create those little places of insulation that I'm going to be okay. I trust me. And then focus on progress. Like, don't look at what was done. I was talking to a friend of mine, and we were talking about a business that she started. And I said, well, hey, have you, put your information out on Facebook? And she shared with me that she had put her information out last year and didn't get a response. I said, does that stop you today from doing that? I said, do you hear what you're saying? And, we laughed about it. I said, because the right person may not have seen it last year, but does that stop you from doing it this year? And so you have to focus on progress and learn from the failure. When you believe it in you enough to move, to get up, to change for whatever you might be going through, don't focus on the failure. You learn from the failure and focus on progress, because it may be something that you didn't do last year, last week, yesterday, that effectively you might do it different today. And then the other thing is, be kind to yourself. Don't beat yourself up, especially with situations that are out of your control, as we find ourselves within the nation. And there's so many decisions that are being made that are out of our control. But what is my control is how I navigate this. Do I navigate it negatively? Woe is me. Or do I navigate it as, this is an opportunity for me to shine? This is an opportunity for me to do something different and to get to know myself differently. This is an opportunity for me to, as I said, evaluate myself and believe in myself, and believe that I can perform or even outperform. What I did the last time, I'm going to exceed this time. And as you develop these growth mindsets where you are actually growing, it might be reading a new book. As I said, it might be getting around new people, because the level that you were on, you want to go higher. So you have to open up yourself to another level and more possibility. And they may come with a risk. But one thing I can tell you, I learned from a dear friend of mine some years ago, that scared money don't make no money. And if you have to take a risk, what's wrong with believing in yourself enough to know that I'm gonna take a risk on me? I'm gonna take a risk on me. Put yourself in a better position by believing in you. Create healthy routines and habits that will keep you within the boundaries that you have set. Create healthy routines and habits that are going to keep you in the boundaries that you have set. Don't allow yourself to be boxed in by the opposition, but create some healthy boundaries and habits that will move you beyond the opposition. And so, as you know, when you're looking to move or looking to make a change or looking to do something different, you have to identify first the obstacles. And so, yes, I see these obstacles here, but I'm going to create some disciplines that are going to move me beyond these obstacles. And so, considering that, the other thing that you need to do is free your mind. You have to rest when needed, replenish yourself when you need to replenish yourself. And as I was saying that I came off my job, like last Friday was my last day, and I turned in all my equipment on Monday. Tuesday I rested, and I intentionally did nothing. But there are some things that I had to do to prepare for my next. I had to work out some things on my computer and put some things in place, punch up my resume. So those are disciplines and habits. And believe in myself enough to know, hey, I have transferable skills. I believe in myself enough to know, yes, I'm different, but somebody is waiting on my difference. I believe in myself enough to know that I'm going to get up and not lay down. I believe in myself enough to know that I am able, I'm capable, that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. I believe in myself enough to know that this is not the end. This is a new beginning. And whatever that is, I believe in myself enough to know that I can walk across the floor, walk out the door, and look with an expectation of my performance. That I'm going to do, I want to do, I will see it because I'm doing it. So you have to believe in yourself. I heard a song this morning. As I said, whenever I'm, getting ready for Remove Logic, what am I going to talk about? It's always something that gives me a confirmation. And so I heard a song this morning. It's a song from Mary Poppins. Anything can happen if you let it. Life is out there waiting, so go and get it. And I was like, wow, I hurried up and stopped and wrote that down because it just resonated so huge in believing in yourself. Anything can happen if you let it. So if I'm sitting in a negative space and I can sit and let life happen to me and not do anything, that's still allowing or letting something happen. But anything is possible. Anything can happen if I let it. If I believe in myself enough to know, if I let it, if I let myself try, if I let myself learn, if I let myself get up, anything can happen from that. Anything. I can receive more than I had before if I apply myself. And then it said, life is out there waiting. So get up. So go and get it. Life is out there waiting. So go and get it. And that just excited me, even to be able to talk about or talk to you about believing in you, that anything can happen if you let it. Life is out there waiting on you. So go and get it. If you are looking for, interestingly enough, that our sponsor is United Wealth Educators. And, they also have a way, as I said, I became an agent and it was supplemental income for me. So if that's something that you are, looking to, and you just need to supplement your income, maybe extra, reach out to me. There's so much that we have access to do. If you believe in yourself enough, then you can do whatever it is that you set your heart and your mind to. And work on your strengths Improve your strengths. Don't stop, just on, like I said, your skills being transferable. If there's something new that I can learn, if there's something that's going to increase my strength, increase my potential, then I'm going to go after it. If it's a book that I can read that's going to challenge my thought process or my belief system, to go a little bit faster, go a little bit harder, go a little bit deeper, then that's what I'm going to do. And so I say that to you, believe in you. It's important that you believe in you, that no matter what, and no matter how life is coming at us, it's like I said, it's coming so much every day. We are inundated to the point where I don't even want to watch the news. I don't want to hear the news, but it still affects us. As I came into January 2025, I had no idea that I would be sitting where I sit right now. That was that kind of change, because as I am 60, my intention was I'm going to work this out until I retire. So I still got another 2 years. But then life did something different. It did something different. And so now here I am. I had to do something different. And you may be in that same situation. It may not be as, detrimental as a job loss or a job change. It could just be something that you want to achieve, as simple as that. But you have to believe in yourself enough to know that I'm going to get this done. You might be at the end of maybe, about to graduate, and everything is popping off now, before graduation in the spring. And I got to really challenge myself, to meet the requirements of graduation. You may find yourself there. And so it might be an extra push to go a little bit harder to reach your goal. So I just want to encourage you, believe in you. It's detrimental that you believe in yourself, because it can make the difference from victory or defeat, from stopping or going, to winning or losing, whatever it is. And if it's anything that is impeding that, stopping that, identify it. Put yourself in a position where without a shadow of a doubt that I need to overcome these obstacles. But what is it going to take? A self-evaluation and some new strategies. Develop some new habits that are going to put you in a better position. Again, our word for this year is pivot. And what is pivot? It is persevere in victory over transition. You may find yourself in a transition, on your way to a transition, or whatever it is that is requiring you to do something different. Your word this year is pivot. It's time to pivot. And so even if you haven't arrived at the pivotal place, then I'll even come back, look at this, send it to somebody. If you find somebody going through next month, send them this link, because pivoting is critical. But you have to know how to pivot. And you got to believe in yourself enough to know that I can do this. So I hope that you got something out of Remove Logic Radio Show today. I believe we're living in a time where we've got to, connect with each other, check on each other, make sure, people are all right, see what they're going through. As I begin to reveal to people actually where I sit right now in this pivotal moment, there are people that got mad. They were like, man, this is up close and personal. And I know somebody, because we hear the stories, across the nation. But and for me, I'm excited. I'm happy. And I'm not just saying that, but I believe in myself enough to know that, my faith in God says all things are possible for those who believe. And so I know that he is going to blow my mind. And one of the simplest things before I drove up to Fort Worth, when I had to report to the office, I just said, God, keep a smile on my face. I said, I trust you with my smile. And so that part right there, because I know he's going to keep me smiling. He's going to keep me okay. But I also know what's in me enough and how I need to navigate this thing. And anything that I don't know, I'm running right back to the Father and saying, hey, Show me how to get out of this, or show me how to move around in this situation. But the strategies and the disciplines that I have, the work ethics that I maintain, and even the ethics that I uphold myself for. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect. What I am saying is I expect a lot out of me because I believe in me. And put yourself in a position where you have a great expectation of you. So once again, Remove Logic radio show. I'm your host, Karen Ray Lacey. I hope that you got something that you can use. Look, not just today, but something for the rest of the year, or at the moment where you may find yourself needing to believe in you. I will see you, look, next week, same time, 7 o'clock, Thursday, 7 p.m. Thursday night. I'll see you on Remove Logic Radio. Thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with me again. Have a wonderful weekend.